Like we've talked about it. All right, let me play intro.
Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Scene Snobs presents The Last of Us recap show. It's episodes 3 through 5. If you haven't had a chance, check out our first episode where we discussed 1 and 2. Go back, check it out, and then check this out as well. I want to welcome our guest tonight. Mr. Jeff Dwoskin is here from Classic Conversations.
What's up, guys?
Hi, buddy.
Guys, I'm a little embarrassed. I just heard your intro, and I had prepped for This Is Us. And so like I'm like ready to discuss. I've been crying all week preparing for this. The tears
there's less Milo in this one.
Yeah.
This is
so
this is the best of the Us series, though. I'm
gonna do my best to keep up then
With the proper us's.
Don't worry, when you do watch The Last of Us, you'll cry too.
I did watch it. I was joking.
Oh, you got me.
I want to welcome you. Casey the Madman, of course, is here, my cohort in the show that we do, these shows. So thank you, Casey, for being here tonight for the recap. And I can't wait to talk about The Last of Us.
It's a pleasure as always, brother. This is very exciting. We're stoked to get into it. So let's, there's a whole lot going on. We got a lot to discuss. So let's get busy. What do you say?
Let's get into
Get right into it.
So let's start with episode 3, of course. Let's pick up. So the whole episode is about Bill and Frank and their loving relationship for 20 years. This was unexpected. Again, I'm a guy who's coming into this not really knowing the video games and just kind of finding these characters and figuring out who they are as I go. I talk to Casey often and text him and try and figure out what's actually happening. Jeff, how about you? Is this a show that you played the games or you knew of the games beforehand?
I got to be honest. I'm watching. I haven't played the game, and I must not have played games in a long time. I was like an Atari 2600 ColecoVision kind of guy. Didn't do the Intellivision, but I'm watching this show going, how is this even a game? I don't even understand how games must work. And then they show the clips, which are cool. Like, oh, this is this scene and this is that scene. I was like, that's amazing. But how is it? I don't even understand. I need a whole episode on like, how is this a game? Like, what do you actually do? Like,
it's a brutal game of survival and sadness, and just the same way you get built up and crushed in this TV show, same with the game.
But I've enjoyed it not having that context, and maybe Mick, you and I have the benefit of not having played the game, because I think from what I can tell, they're doing a really great job with the show. And I don't have to go like, well, but Bill was 5'2" and he's only 5'1" in this. So this is ruining it for me. How could he be only that tall? You know what I mean?
He's the incorrect size. I don't like his dimensions.
He had a handlebar mustache in the video game.
That's not Bill's hat. I don't believe in him. As someone, I will openly admit, I am that person because of Uncharted. Uncharted was one of my favorites, and I can't deal. Mark Wahlberg ruins the whole thing. It's a great movie, great story, but I can't deal with Mark Wahlberg. It's not my Sully. So in that scenario, yes. In this, though, they're doing everything fantastically well, if not better. Like with the Bill and Frank story, it's more in the video game. It's just kind of letters and flashbacks, and you don't get nearly as much of this loving, beautiful story. So I am happy to see it all just kind of fills in a lot of holes from the game. So it's fantastic.
It's a great episode. I mean, it's a long episode. It's I think like an hour and 16 minutes, if I remember correctly. But it's like a standalone movie. I mean, this could have just been a movie, and I would have been like, I enjoyed this.
Yeah, it really could. I mean, it felt like a short movie. They gave you an entire beautiful love story, while having the entirety of that story from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. Beautiful, tragic, horrifying end.
I think Nick Offerman's going to win one of those awards that you win for shows like this, just on that strawberry scene.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean?
That was fantastic.
It was very relatable, and it was very good.
So. It was very well acted. So Nick Offerman kind of taking on that role of Bill. Again, not really knowing the character at all. and getting into it like that, like it just like it blew me away. I didn't know what to expect. So jumping into this and figuring out very anti Walking Dead, where somebody has to die in every episode and it has to be horrific. This was Casey watched it with me. I was sitting there the whole time like, somebody's gonna die, this is gonna all go to hell, this is gonna be terrible, and nothing's gonna be good, and I'm gonna hate it. And then by the end, I'm like, oh, I mean, I actually came out relatively unscathed through this episode. It was nice for once.
Yeah, it was very sweet, but it also had that very touching ability to add to Joel's backstory too, and do that wonderful thing where you've already seen the character like Tessa die, and then they add to liking her more. So that was fantastically painful. So it was a good hurt.
I was glad to see Anna Torv come back, at least even for that one scene. I love her from Fringe, so it was cool to see her back again. So Jeff, with this episode, you're coming into it. It's very different from the first two. It's even very different from the next two. Where on the scale of the 5 episodes so far would you put episode 3? And what was your favorite, like maybe scene or part from it?
I think it's like a standalone. So I think it's almost not even fair to compare it to everything. I found it to be, it's definitely one of the best of the 5 episodes, but it's also, you could just arguably say it shouldn't even be compared to the other 4. The other 4 seem to be of the same ilk. This one is very, very unique. I, having no idea what was going on, my favorite kind of scene was where they did the first flash forward, where like all of a sudden it's like, now they're just like this, I don't know if a married couple, but like they're in a relationship, and and it's flash forward years, so he didn't send him back into the wild and all that kind of stuff. And so that to me was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. And so I like it. That to me was really cool. I loved all like the kind of seeing this different side of Nick Offerman, and or I was gonna say this different side of Ron Swanson, but the
Sure.
But it was very interesting. It starts off very dark. I mean, that the pivot to the flashback where they kind of show the cloth and then who the cloth belongs to as a flashback, that's really dark. And it's very subtle, but yeah, I mean, I overloved it. I thought Murray Bartlett Frank was really great, especially coming off of having just watched, White Lotus season 2 just aired, but I watched season 1 and 2 kind of back to back. I was catching up on it. He was amazing in that and very different in that. I mean, like his character was much more reserved in this. And it took us a second to realize it was even him with the mustache and the beard. So I think the two of them together had really good chemistry. But yeah. I thought it was great.
Nice. Casey, how about you, man? What's like one of your favorite parts, and what do you think this stands with the rest of the episodes?
I'm very much so with Jeff on this is like a companion piece more than actually being, it is a standalone in its own story. I love the story so much. And I really enjoyed the way Nick Offerman bounced off the Bill and Frank characters, the way they played exasperation was hilarious. That there's still that feeling, even being the only 2 people in this post-apocalyptic strange world where you're just trying to protect yourself and defend yourself, but you can still be exasperated with the person you're with and annoyed. And that was fun. It was a really good touch, and I really enjoyed that. And it made me really love those characters because of that. So
yeah, and it was definitely nice to see the violence of the series, which works for what it is, but like it was just kind of like put into the background, and you got a breather for a moment. I kind of wish I knew it was a breather while I was watching it, but it was nice to finally kind of walk away with a sigh of relief, and it's like, all right, now I can get back to the action.
And just for anyone watching, I'm not sure an open window would have kept the smell.
Yeah. True. I was wondering if they had a whole bunch of like mini pine trees all hung up in there.
Yeah. But,
Yeah, that was the way that ended, it definitely kind of throws you off, and but I mean it was still beautiful in its own right, and I liked where they went with it, and they used the the essence of time within within the whole episode really well. Like it never felt disjointed or like we jumped too far, like we're missing anything from the past.
Agreed.
But yeah, so then we roll into, but this was a good buffer between the episodes, and we give Joel.
Oh wait, I did have one question. Maybe you can
Yeah.
answer. So this episode kind of lets you know what that 80s, 90s, 70s thing was.
Mhm.
But what I didn't understand about that was Frank and Bill are alone. So what possibly could they have been warning about?
True.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I think Frank is always kind of, or Bill seemed like he was always kind of on his radio and kind of paying attention to things. So he might have been in touch with other people just through the radio.
Maybe. Okay.
Well, and also, yeah, the connection with anyone else from his ham radio community or anybody he had reached out to, because I mean, Tess had made it seem like there was a connection there. So might have been
Tess connected with Frank, right?
Oh, that's right. That was with Frank, not with Bill. Yeah, good point.
Yep. Oh, so that makes sense too. Like, I mean, Frank jumping on the ham radio and just trying to connect with people is one thing. So,
all right.
But it was a good buffer to get you to episode 4. Of course, it gives Ellie and Joel his truck and enough supplies to kind of travel across country, which brings us to episode 4. Very much a road trip episode. Also a very nice, kind of subtle, like they're going through the motions of getting there. You kind of learn a little bit more about each of them until they get to Kansas City, and it's almost like a nightmare fuel. But going into episode 4, what did you think of the tone change there and how everything sort of ended up?
I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it moved everything kind of forward and got those two characters to kind of get to know each other well. I thought excellent use of puns throughout.
Super punny.
Very super punny. So and yeah.
I did like that moment when they're in the woods together and they go to sleep, and like you could tell he's just like, I can't do this. I can't sleep. I got to stay awake. And it's just, everything's messing with him. Just his eyes are playing tricks on him and such. And then, which leads nicely to the ending when he's finally asleep and he feels like he's in a safe place. But, Casey, what about you? What did you think about the episode and the tone?
So episode 4 for me was really fantastic because that whole relationship that you build in the video game, it takes a long time to do it. You're doing it over the course of all 8 cities you visit, and these different major areas you're going through. So they managed to condense that entire feeling that you get by the end with, Joel smiling a little bit, even starting to joke around and feeling that connection. He's not the tough Pedro Pascal Mandalorian that you're expecting. He softens a bit and he starts opening up, and you see him more as that father. And it was just really cool to see that the way these two, Bella Ramsey and he, really put that together. They did such a fantastic job moving the story together, moving the story forward, and making you feel like, okay, I buy them as becoming this maybe friends, maybe more family-esque. So it was really well done.
So does anybody get the feeling that the two of them together, Joel is now, I mean, we know they ultimately get closer just based on video game. Like, I mean, I can't imagine you're going to survive that long and not get that close. But the parallels between Ellie and Sarah and his relationship with her seem very standoffish with her. But as they are getting closer, especially in this episode, how do you guys feel about the relationship? And do you think this is becoming a fatherly type of relationship?
I think over time it'll become closer and closer because she'll become his daughter. I mean, figuratively, but I could see where, he's very hesitant because they already lost one, right? Who was one of the coolest characters in episode 1, by the way. And, and so I could see where, but I do think that between the scarecrow joke and the diarrhea joke, they got a lot closer. They got a lot,
for sure.
but it is interesting. Like they were just driving, and then obviously, I'll let you guide where we are in the story. Go ahead.
No. Please go ahead. I would love to hear it.
No, one of the things that is interesting to me about this versus like The Walking Dead is that in this TV show, there's a government, right? There isn't any semblance of that in The Walking Dead in that version of the story. So to me that there's a difference there, and that's the strife of that is I think what leads to the turmoil where is it Kansas City they end up in this episode.
Yep. Yeah.
And so, to me that's an interesting kind of layer where there's a little bit of politics going on and control that leads to
and that's kind of the cool thing with that game in the story is that those little government pockets kind of become their own tribes, that they become in charge. The Fedra segments are their own Fedra segments who interact with other segments of Fedra. So it's really just whoever has the guns. It's kind of terrifying, but very true.
And it was cool to see the difference. So like in Boston, Joel and Tess they're working the system with Fedra, trying to do it, whatever they have to get by. And most people are, but everybody's always, of course, suppressed, like you said, the ones with the guns. But then you get to Kansas City and it's clearly something even worse happened there because they wanted to take over. And we get into that with episode 5 where, how vicious it goes. And with the actor who played, I'm trying to think of her name. Kathleen in it.
Yeah.
Melanie Linsky.
Melanie Linsky. She is an actor who she has that face that just looks like so friendly, so sweet, but also very menacing. And it was so effective for this character.
Just like Yellow Jackets. I mean, that I fell in love with her in Yellow Jackets. Thought that was fantastic, and she did a great job. And that extreme emotion she shows, and really cruelty. I mean, to some degree, she has it all. It's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, there was a lot of somebody was making fun of her. One of the past top models had slammed her body type, and then. It's
Get a personality.
I know. But she's great. And then like Jeffrey Pierce, who plays Perry, like her right hand man, they reminded me of well, I don't remember in The Whisperers and like that relationship, the woman and then the one guy.
Yeah, Opie from what is it? The Sons of Anarchy was the guy, right?
Yeah. But this is a good. I mean, this and then the next episode that we'll talk about. They're kind of like one giant episode, kind of split into two.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like who's Henry? They keep talking about Henry. We meet him for a second at the end, but it was an interesting thing with the doctor and stuff like that, and the whole turning people in. That kind of reminded me. I think there's a lot of that, during the Nazi takeover, people turning people in to try and. The upsetting thing about like this and like The Walking Dead and Fear of the Walking Dead is you kind of have is like the realization like how fast people become assholes.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? It's
how
like
rapidly the abuse of power is just nakedly hurting and wounding and taking, and it's just
just how fast I'll say I'm turning in Casey so I can get a loaf of bread, or whatever it is, and it's like. And I don't think that's far off. I don't think it's like, it's like, that's what's kind of nerve wracking about the whole thing. So.
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, I want you to know it would be I would only turn you in for a car battery. All right. It would have to be a big thing. It wouldn't be
a local car battery. None of this driving across the country for a car battery thing.
Jeff, I would never turn you in because I would die in the first wave.
He would be around anyway.
I'm well aware of my strengths, and surviving a zombie apocalypse isn't one of them.
You're funny.
Before we get into the Kansas City part and we get into episode 5. Oh yeah, what's up, Case? What you got?
I was just going to bring up with episode 4. I was really sad about the fact that there was a shootout as they're entering the city. Like I was kind of annoyed by that when you have this faction of who are supposed to be the good people. And they're doing, something clearly, kind of, I don't know, underhanded with the guy limping through the city, and then the
Mhm.
truck gets, they try to power through, but they're getting shot at and everything, and then they blow out the tires, and it's like, well, that just sucked. How come they couldn't just stop and talk to someone? And once again, like Jeffy said, because people turn around and are assholes. That many people are willing to stick other people up. You don't know who's around the corner. No one's walking around with a sign that says "good guy," So
Yeah.
that's why I think the apocalypse is even more terrifying because of us.
Yeah, that's legit. Like, if anything, these shows just prove that maybe we should make it. But especially after 20 years and it's still happening. But to see, like I said, with episode 5, it really starts and picks up at the end of episode 4 with what you were saying. They're kind of trying to trick them into coming to help them, and they had that fast getaway and then ended in a shootout. Before we get into that, though, I want to stop real quick and I want to talk about Jeff. Jeff, tell us about your shows. Tell us where we can find them, and more about you, sir.
Hi, my name's Jeff. I have a podcast where people just send me money. It's really fun. My Venmo is no, I'm just kidding.
That's how you do it. Dang it.
Pay my bills with Jeff Dwoskin.
I feel like that's the way you should say it, though, and on every episode. Like, remember, we have a Patreon. Pay my bills.
Well, let's see. Classic Conversations is my podcast where I go deep into pop culture. What's a good word?
Depths?
For me, I mean,
Deep into
depths
the
is a good word,
depths?
but for me, and if I could just because I listen to your show, I'm actually a fan, so I
Appreciate it.
say it like
Nostalgia.
nostalgia is a great
There we
word
go.
for that. You have some great guests, man, for sure, and you're very good interviewer.
Thank you.
Mhm.
My trick to being a good interviewer is just listening.
It's the way to do it. I'll shut up now.
So like you said, I talk to TV and film stars and comedians and really anything of nostalgic nature. I had a good one with the guy, an Atari 2600 legend. It was a little different than some of the other interviews, but I thought it was really cool. And so, but Burt Ward, Cagney Lacey, Penny from Lost in Space, Kato Kalin.
Oh
Kato.
yeah.
He was awesome. So a lot of cool stuff like that. And then, so just fun deep dive interviews. And every Monday is a new episode. And then every Thursday is sort of a bonus episode where I pull segments from Crossing the Streams and put those in. And then, that's it. It's amazing. It's ranked number 1.
Well deserved.
I'm sure somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have no source for that, but it's
Huge in Sweden. Huge.
It's never right. I used to be really big in what was the place? Yemen. I was number 1 in Yemen. Then I
Nice.
dropped off the charts in Yemen. I mean, what's going on? Did I piss someone off in Yemen? I don't know. And it was just like, it's just weird. I just all of a sudden
They weren't fans of 3 companies, and you had someone on, and that was it. They were like, nope.
I guess it's just weird, It's like
Devastating. Damn you,
Right.
Yemen. Get back on Classic Conversation.
But thanks for being a fan, Mick. I wish I could return the compliment, but I haven't. Who's got time?
Right, exactly. We're busy making content. Can't listen to
Very
it.
fair, very fair. I'm not going to argue. Well, thanks again for coming on today to talk about the Last of Us with us and recap like the last 3 episodes, and getting back into it. So, Casey, I know you said that you weren't a big fan of kind of how it ended and led into it, but I know for
It just
me,
made me sad, man. It was just frustrating. I'm like, why is everyone always shooting at everybody? How come I bet you a conversation would have gone a lot further. Maybe just give them a tank of gas and keep rolling. Maybe all this would have been fine.
yeah,
Right. The best part though is like when they act surprised. What do you mean they're dead? Oh, we're gonna have to go kill them now. Well, what do you mean? Because we ran out in front of their car and started shooting them and trying to kill them, and then they killed us. How dare they kill us as we
Right.
tried to kill them?
So now
This
we have
is-
to go kill them.
now we
Everybody,
have to
let's get the whole town
Kill
together.
everybody. Go door to door.
Do the killing. Like,
What,
it's,
do you think we can wait and kill them tomorrow, Barry? No, we're gonna kill them now. Go
Why
kill
would-
them
Yeah.
now.
why are we on the killing? Someone hurry up and get the kill squad.
You know what Henry did. I'm going to tear this entire place down because one person did something bad to me. Who am I? Elon Musk?
Yeah, she was. She was pretty maniacal. Yeah,
She was
right
pretty
up there.
maniacal.
But the whole thing, nothing, I'll tell you, like, it's one thing to be evil if you're like, but to be evil and it's just a personal single vendetta,
Yeah.
that doesn't make you a leader.
No, it
That,
does
no,
not.
it does not make you a leader. That actually makes you horrible. And so
Mhm.
now if you're ruthless for the good of everyone in this type of situation, let's say, that's one thing. But this was very singular.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like once, if he was gone, Henry, you know, then Kathleen's purpose is done. You know what I mean? It's like, where's her motivation to keep going?
Now, what's she worried about? Is she worried about
Yeah.
keeping the trains going on time and the schedules up? Like, probably not.
Yeah.
You know, if I was the Joe guy, her buddy, or whoever her sidekick, whatever his name was, I would just shot her.
Harry.
Yeah, I would just shot her. Just shot her right
Yeah.
there and been like, you know what? Nope, can't do this. Cannot have everyone going around trying to sacrifice for you. for one
It's like
person.
she's acting like she was the only one who was wronged. There's like an
Right.
entire jail cell of someone there, about 30 people that she's going to kill who did this similar thing to somebody else. But it's like, come on, enough. You probably would have done it too.
Yeah.
Just keeping
Yeah.
the cycle perpetuating and keeping
Yeah.
it going. You know, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's-
that's a made up character for the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kathleen, by the way, is
Yeah.
That's
I read
the reality. Those people are actually doing it. That continues to perpetuate in history. It's weird.
No, it's it is. It's going into the 5th episode too, and learning more about Henry Sam and a little bit more is very subtle with Kathleen's character, kind of how they touch down on her past. And I kind of wish they had shown more. I wish this was a little bit longer of an episode, maybe give a reason why she's so hell-bent on Henry. Maybe, like, don't just explain it to us later on. I feel like they didn't give us, if they had shown us, I would have understood why.
I don't know
she
that it
was
needs
doing
anymore because it just needs for her to be a singular pointed character. She's the vehicle that it is the impetus as to what happens at the end of this episode, really. And to show you that people are maniacal at this point and still trash.
I get that, but I also I have to disagree a little bit because it's almost like if we hadn't seen Thanos all the way until the end of Infinity War, would we have cared about what he was doing or any of it? Like, I would have at least like a little more peppered in. They just were too subtle with it. Why she, like you said, it's so target. She took over Fedra. She took over the whole city. She got this whole band of people together.
She
like you
killed
said.
all the Federated.
well, I think what
Let's
they
be very clear. She murdered
what-
everyone.
what I got from it was her brother probably was the leader, right? And then Henry, are we giving away? Are we assuming
Oh,
people
Yeah,
watched it?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
they
So,
know.
and then Henry, right, turns in the brother for whatever he did, and it's to favor for himself. Oh, to save Sam, I think. it was
Yeah, to get the
I
medicine
think.
for Sam. Yeah.
And so right, so now Kathleen steps into his role. So I guess she kind of quasi got it, like it sort of she inherited it because the
Mhm.
brothers, but her only motivation was to get back at Henry for doing that, which she should have raised. What they really needed was someone who could have rose above that.
Exactly. Someone who wasn't going to shoot everyone in that shipping container because they were all collaborators. I think at some point
Right.
you
I mean,
have
they
to
killed the
move past that.
doctor. They killed the
Kids.
doctor.
How smart is
You don't
that?
kill the doctor. You know what I
Never.
mean? It's like ever. Yeah.
They're rare commodities.
Oh,
You
yeah.
need them. Even if you just give them the crappiest house and, be like, hey, everyone, you get to insult them for an hour on Sunday. Like this public shaming. There you go. Do that.
But this was a very exhausting episode. I mean, there was a lot to go on. We can talk about
Yeah, go
how
for it,
actually
please,
ended,
yeah.
right? So I mean, for both of them to end up dead, it's and then for Henry to off himself because Sam got bit, which I mean, that was just like a tragic thing. I mean, it's so tragic. I mean, it was just tragic on top of tragic because everything they had just gone through, and then all of a sudden it's just Joel and Ellie again.
Yep, all the way back.
All
And
the way
it's
back.
phenomenal to watch that. The Last of Us, it's not just the title, it's telling you what's happening. So every time you meet someone else, prepare for the worst. Just strap in. It's
Right.
just got to be a vehicle to keep things being awful. And I thought the bloater was really cool. The big giant fungus. He
Yep.
was really cool. I'm glad we got to see that, and really brutal. Ripping old Joe or whatever his name's head off was terrible.
Harry.
Oh my God.
Perry. Sorry, I'm gonna keep calling him Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're set on Joe.
That's what.
Yeah,
it's
I
Joe
mean, that
Perry.
was a
I'm
lot.
big-
That was those were a lot of. Do we call them undead? What do we call them in this? in this
infected.
show?
I think
Infected. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of out of nowhere infected. I mean, like the ground just kind of.
Caves in there. I mean, if you think about it, the truck never would have exploded. None of that ever would have happened if she wasn't going on this vendetta. But instead, she, finds this weak point in this sinkhole that clearly Fedra moved all the infected into and managed to keep them locked in there. And then, well, nope.
Yeah.
Messed it up.
Messed it up.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about that portion of it is like she was so ineffective as a leader throughout the whole thing because it was just a personal vendetta, and I think that's why I was like kind of ardently for a backstory on her is because every decision she was making, I was just like, this is dumb. And you're not an effective leader, but I like the fact that you're in charge, but I want to see why. Like what got you there to the point where you're making the wrong decisions.
I don't think anything got her there. Like I think it's just her brother got removed and she was just there. So
100%. I completely think that's it. Yeah.
I think she was fully capable, just driven by revenge, which we know is not the right way.
This is true.
Yeah, because honestly, if you had just let him go, you'd all be fine and be running that city. But
remember, when you're motivated by revenge, what is it? Dig 2 graves.
Right, one for you and one for the other guy.
Exactly.
Or something.
That's close. We're almost there. Welcome to Piecing It Together with Casey and Jeff. We're gonna.
I will say that they actually definitely had a lot of graves to dig that episode because it was just insane. I like
what's insane is that diarrhea runs in. The
comedian, you can't stay away from that.
It was wild watching that because not only did she kill all of her own troops, but then she opened up the portal and allowed everyone into Kansas City. So the infected are just running into all the people who are just peopling. Yep. So there's going to be a whole lot of death. That was rough.
Yeah, Kansas City's now gone.
It crawls.
That was gone. Yeah.
But who is not gone? Joel and Ellie continue on, and I got to tell you that after that attack, which was awesome. I mean, it really was a great attack. It was something we needed after so much of no attacks going on, and so to throw that at us, it's weird. Like where I was saying, I'm watching episode 3, and I'm like, I get to chill. And then like the road trip, I'm like, okay, I kind of get to chill on this. And then you get to the end of episode 5 and you're like, all right, I kind of needed this. I needed you to kind of up it a little bit. And it worked.
Creepy girl in the car.
Yeah.
The clicker in the car messed me up.
Oh, geez. And Ellie handled it like a champ. And I love that they really showed Joel's Marine Corps rifleman training. He was pulling it off. He was doing great. And I love that. And to get them all away, to get them to the end of the episode where all 4 of them get to the safe place, and that interaction between Ellie and Sam, and just kind of how they were going back and forth about everything, and she tried to save him. She really wanted to believe that her blood would save him. Of course, it did not, and it led to, of course, Henry ultimately having to kill Sam and, out of grief, kill himself. And our heroes move on.
And boy, did Henry sell it. That actor, that was brutal. I felt every bit of that. What did I do? Like that just really translated. And, it's hurtful.
I agree with that 100%. And I did like that they showed that Ellie's blood can't save someone that easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not a secret magic, MacGuffin where it's like, ooh, I can just touch you with my hand. It's like, no, you need to find a scientist.
Right.
Yeah, and even Joel's face, like the Lamar Johnson's the actor who played Henry in it, and when he shoots Sam, And like you said, he turns to him. He's like, "What did I do?" Like it's so believable that he can't believe what he just did. Like it sold it so well. But Joel sitting there like, "Just give me the gun, man. Just give me like," and he's not even vying for his own life. I don't even think he thinks he's in danger at that point. But like he just wants to save him. He knows what's going to happen, and then Ellie to have to watch all of that. It was just something else. A great way to end the episode.
I think they did a great job walking away with sort of that quiet, just stroll. Ellie's, immediately hardened again. She went from being a kid to now having that ripped away yet again, and just to that, let's keep going. So that was great.
And the note on Sam's pad where she just wrote, "I'm sorry," and left it on his grave. Like, just kicked you right in the gut. So now we are all caught up. Episode 5 happens. We see our two protagonists going forth to get to Wyoming. Where do you guys see the rest of the series going from here? There's 10 episodes, so we have 5 left. Is there something you'd like to see, or maybe some other things that you might want sprinkled in there or not in there?
I sort of know, having not played the video game, I kind of have no expectations, but just hearing you say that out loud, it makes me wonder, where are they going? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm enjoying it, but I was just like, oh my God, 5 more episodes? You know what I mean? Like, what? I'm curious where I'm just, I'm curious where they're going. Like, I'm the kind of guy, like if I can, I turn off like next week and next week on, that kind of, because I don't like to even see like little things like that. So I'm not sure. I wish I had a good answer for that, Mick, but I guess deep down, I hope for world peace and that they can all come together. But I assume since there's a second season, hopefully, no.
Probably not.
Okay.
It'll be interesting when the brother comes back. It's always interesting to me when the people that you happen to be following in the story, their siblings or whoever, all
Right.
have lived.
Oh, of course they survived.
They survived, but
definitely. I can't wait for the reunion on that and see how they kind of play off, because we know they had a huge falling out. So I'd love to see how they kind of come back together for it. But Case, how about you, man? What do you think?
Well, we've got about 4 more stops from video game land, which means about 4 more episodes. So we got some major chapters coming up. So I'm super excited. Wyoming is the next stop, and it's going to be pretty cool to see how all of this goes down and ties into where they're going to wind up. And I am just elated and excited. This is one of those things that Naughty Dogs is one of those studios that I love. I trust them. Their storytelling is always A1. They're doing fantastic, and I believe that they'll continue doing a fantastic job telling this story. So I'm all in. I know where we're going eventually. I'm more excited watching everyone else struggle with the damage and pain that's left in the wake of this beautiful story.
All right.
Has anyone put out a supercut of this where they just for no reason put a Mandalorian head on Pedro Pascal?
I wish.
Now I want it.
I want to now.
Yeah.
Ellie. Yeah. Okay.
I want to have a supercut of him then also doing this in The Mandalorian, where it's Joel in The Mandalorian. Get along with Grogu, see how that goes.
Oh man, I'm enjoying it so far. It's thrown me off quite a bit because they take you to places that are unexpected, then they bring you right back, but it's nice breathers. There's very good characters in this, and it's well written. So I think that's what I'm enjoying about it the most. I have no idea where it goes. I'm lost. I think I'm with Jeff on this one. It's like I can't see where you take it from here. Other than go and just find a brother, but then what? Where does it go from there? So we're gonna see, though, for sure.
I also just to call out the whole idea of not releasing all 10 episodes at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this. I think this series does well to be paced out like that.
I'll agree. This is one of
Yeah.
those that absolutely is. This is one of those where you continue, we're all conversing about it, and we're really sitting with each episode and taking it in, rewatching, and seeing all the subtleties and nuances. And they do such a fantastic job. And you don't want to miss everything when you kind of binge. You just fire through everything and miss a lot of work that went into those episodes. So this Game of Thrones, these are the ones that are worth kind of marinating in and enjoying.
Yeah, and you see such a surge in television shows. The quality is just off the chains right now. Like it's fantastic, everything, and I mean it's been building to that for almost 15 years now. But really now, we're seeing so many good things come out, and I'm kind of glad that streaming services are going back to that week-to-week format, especially for something like this. So it's
HBO, I think, has always been that way. I don't think HBO's ever dumped. It's always Netflix or because I mean, think about it, like with Cobra Kai, right? When season 6 comes out, they're just going to drop all the episodes. You couldn't do this, at least not without going, well, we can't say that because I don't know where you are, right? Yeah.
I mean, Stranger Things did it pretty well, that dropping the first half and then second half. I like that kind of model, but you're right, it wouldn't work with this.
Yeah, the Stranger Things model where you release 6 hours of episodes where there's really only 45 minutes of story in there. I agree. I agree 100%.
For sure. That's why we don't do a Stranger Things recap show.
Bingo. Stranger Things recap the last 2 episodes. There you go. Story in.
But I think it seems we all really enjoy the show. We like where it's going, and I say to everybody, check it out if you're not watching it now. I think you guys feel the same about that.
Yeah, I think the mistake that The Walking Dead made was that there's with Game of Thrones, there was all of a sudden this coolness of killing off the main characters, right? But the thing with Game of Thrones was there was always really, really, really good characters left. And I think with Walking Dead, the mistake they made was they killed off way too many good characters and didn't replace them with really great characters, or at least ones that we didn't get to know or didn't, they didn't evolve to where we would love them again. So, I think, Pedro and Joel and Ellie, I think are really solid characters, but they seem to be killing everyone else along the way. So hopefully, it's like you couldn't see like where all of a sudden it's Ellie and someone else. Then that would, right. So it's all about the characters. So.
And that's really 100% true with the way they are formatted and the way this story goes. Right. And once again, it is The Last of Us. So don't get attached to anyone.
Sure,
no, and I think they've done a good job. Like they do, like the last 2 episodes, right? There was, like you got the little Henry and Sam and stuff like that. Their story ended, but you felt like, okay, we spent some time with them.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. Everything they've done is much more beautiful. Walking Dead didn't really have that beauty concept as much as the harshness of, oh no, you killed off the character I love that was a really good actor. That was doing a really good job.
I do want to call out that Tessa was from Detroit. They did say
nice.
They did call out that she was from the D. So.
Rock City.
She had to go to Boston for the D, though.
Welcome to B-Town.
We're trying to keep this G.
G for
if you notice, though,
God damn it, wonderful.
If you notice, though, nobody went to New Jersey. Not even the clickers or any of that.
Oh no, even the clickers were like, we're good. We're just going to destroy this bridge. Make sure no one can get there.
You guys keep your strip clubs next to the scrap yards. But listen,
keep it classy, Newark.
Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight to recap episodes 3 through 5. I'm really enjoying the show. Jeff, thank you so much. Guys, make sure you go check out Classic Conversations. Go check out Crossing the Streams, which is on tonight at 9:30. Oh, it's not on tonight. It's not new tonight?
We were taking tonight off because I was supposed to be somewhere. Then there was the school shooting piece.
Yeah, by the way.
And so we thought we'd take a beat. So.
Very fair.
School I should specifically, the school shooting was, in our backyard, and all of our friends have kids that go to Michigan State University. So thoughts out to them. Yeah. So, unfortunately we live in a world we can't take a beat every time there's a school shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that'd be half the year.
Well, I think it's already been 60 or something this year.
Oh, geez.
Good
Or
night.
some insane number. But anywho, sorry to bring it down.
No.
The Last of Us. How can we get further
The
down?
Last of Us, right. Somehow we made it more depressing.
There's a great idea for season 2.
If you didn't cry to The Last of Us, we'll make you cry here on The Last of Us recap. That's how it works. But no, okay. So make sure to check out Classic Conversations. A new episode drops at midnight Mondays. Go check it out and check out Crossing the Streams, which is live on Jeff's channel. Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. We've both been guests on it. We've had fun on it.
One of my favorites.
And make sure you're following Jeff at Big Mocker and at Jeff Dwoskin Show. You got him right there, but I have everything linked below. You can go to jeffisfunny.com and see all of his channels more.
Bless you, sir. And
no problem.
And everyone, don't forget to tune in to the Scene Snobs radio morning show every Friday with Mick and Casey. Don't drive to work without them. You're right. You're 72% more likely to make it to your destination if you're listening to Mick and Casey in the morning.
And in some places, that's true. A lot.
Yeah.
Valid. Good. That's pretty good.
But,
I mean,
sure.
why risk it?
Yeah, why risk it? Just check it out.
If you're going to die from laughter. Every Friday morning at 7 to 10 a.m. But yes, thank you guys so much for joining me on this. Had a really good time. We'll be back again and after the next 2 episodes to recap. But until then, make sure to check out these messages. Casey, you want to say anything before we take off, man?
Just that I love and appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Jeff, a pleasure as always, my friend.
Cheers,
Mick, love your face. Be well, y'all. Thanks.
Mick also love your face.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, guys. Mick here. Thanks so much for watching the show and supporting us. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming back and joining in the comments. But, guys, I really want to thank you, our patrons who are out here supporting us, helping us keep the lights on. Really, truly appreciate you. Tim, Paul, Stacy, Matt, Aaron, AJ, George G3, Chris S., Dale, Chris H., Dan, John B., Ron, Jason, and John W. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Guys, we have 3 tiers available right now. As of March 1st, we're adding 2 more tiers for a total of 5 with tons of perks. So go check out patreon.com/thescenesnobs. And join our Snob Nation Discord channel where the moderators are keeping everything going and we're having really fun conversations over there and more. So go check it out. It's free to join and just be part of the Snob Nation. And remember to embrace the absurdity. Hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. We have tons of great shows coming out and more. Our lives are over on Patreon, but you can check out the Snob Nation Morning Drive live show on our YouTube channel Friday, 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern, and tons more shows coming up thereafter. We have great shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, Betting Bros, Math vs. Smash, Real Combat, movie reviews, and tons more. We have fun over there, and we think you will too. If you're looking for great merch, go over to the snobsmerch.com store. Use promo code SNOBS for 10% off of your order. We have tons of shirts, mugs, everything, stickers, all different types of designs. We love it. I think you will too. So go check it out and let us know what you think. Remember to follow us on all social media platforms. We are at The Scene Snobs everywhere. You can also follow Casey at Planos21 on Instagram, at Casey the Madman on TikTok, and at Twitter Night on Twitter. Guys, tons of fun stuff and new things coming out every day, so go check out our content there. Thank you guys again. We are The Scene Snobs. Embrace the absurdity with us, and we love you, and we'll talk to you guys soon.